Now, brace yourselves to feel fury and frustration as we career towards a recurring blight on our roads, the dreaded pothole. We try to avoid it, but like potholes themselves, it's almost impossible to, because they're everywhere.
For cars, they're a real nuisance that can do some serious damage, but for cyclists, they can be life-threatening. We sent Cherie Murphy to find out more.
It's pothole season, the least wonderful time of the year, when the cold weather means that some of our roads have more than a passing resemblance to the surface of the moon. So I lost 2 tyres a couple of years ago to a pothole, and on my school run drive there is a country lane that is littered with them. Now, they're impossible to avoid, and for a driver like me it's really annoying, but for a cyclist it can be deadly. In 2021, a survey by a cycling website found 88% of its riders had been forced into a dangerous manoeuvre by a pothole. Department for Transport data shows that since 2016, at least 425 riders have been killed or seriously injured because of poor road surfaces. That's 1 every week. In August 2019, it happened to Dan Dillon. Talk me through what happened.
Well, I went for a cycle with about 8-10 cyclists from the same cycling club, and we were moving nice and fast.
Yeah.
We were probably doing about 17-18 miles an hour. And when I hit this groove on the road, it just flipped me. The tarmac had been cut and a groove had developed, but there was about a drop of 2 inches from one sheet of tarmac to its adjoining one. And the wheel got in the groove and it just flipped me.
Oh my goodness. And so what happened to you physically?
Well, I broke my hip, so I ended up in Manchester Royal Infirmary and I was discharged after 5 days.
Dan took legal action against the council responsible for the road, and his case was settled earlier this year with a payout of over £8,000. His solicitor, fellow cyclist Nadia Kerr, specialises in bike accidents, and potholes fill up a lot of her time.
I think, you know, the risks to a cyclist are disproportionate in terms of the risk to a motor vehicle occupant. We don't have the same protection. You know, if we swerve out into the road, we're liable to be hit by a motor vehicle passing us as well.
And do you find that there are a lot more accidents with people on bikes, you know, with potholes?
We have a lot of work arising from potholes affecting cyclists on the road, and tragically some of the injuries that we see are life-changing.
So I can see firsthand just how dangerous potholes can be for cyclists. Nadia has convinced me to join her for part of her commute. I'll be knackered by the end of this. Oh God, pothole. Oh wow. Oh. That's dreadful. Oh gosh, yeah, really bad. Oh. Oh gosh. I have to say that was pretty scary.
Yeah, there were some really obvious defects there that we came across, and you know, they should be noted on the council's records after inspections that they've done. I would fully expect those to be repaired really quickly because of the position of them, and they're just dangerous.
And I think if you are a nervous cyclist, you know, like me, I was constantly looking around, but also having to keep my eyes on the road to look for potholes.
Yeah, you know, and we've got such a big push to try and promote active travel so that people can have better spaces to live in, there's less congestion on the road, you know, the air quality is better, but we need the infrastructure there, we need the road surfaces to be in good condition, and then people aren't scared to use them.
Have you had any close shaves yourself?
I have, and I think the type of defect that affects me most with the narrow wheels and tyres that I have on my bike are the grooves that go along the road, and they're really, you know, easy to just get stuck in. Yeah. I've not fallen off fully, thankfully, I've just lost balance.
Potholes aren't just a headache for cyclists, but for councils across the UK too. They can't be prevented, they can only be filled. By traditional methods, a team of workers can fill just 10 potholes a day, leaving most councils with a serious backlog. So much so, some famous faces have even taken to getting down and dirty on the job themselves. Sir Rod Stewart got stuck in on a hole-riddled road in Essex, claiming people's cars were getting damaged and his Ferrari couldn't get through. I've heard about people taking matters into their own hands.
Yeah,
and
a certain celebrity.
And filling potholes themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't advise to do that.
No. So that's what, we're there for.
Any repairs you make yourself could leave you liable for any problems. So leave it to the professionals and new innovations like the Pothole Pro. So they reckon they can fill a pothole in a quarter of the time compared to traditional methods, and with fewer workers. There's two pretty sizable potholes here.
Yep.
So what would you do traditionally, like before this machine?
So obviously before the machine we would have turned up, lads with a vehicle, traditional methods, steel saw, breaker, and would have done that pothole, and then we would have done that pothole and then moved off onto obviously the next street. But now with the machine we'll come and take all the defective surface away, a bit like a tooth cavity. They don't just take away the small bit, they take everything away. We can do a pothole in less than 8 minutes with the machine.
Wow.
So it's fair speed. We've gone out before and done 86 potholes in a day with this machine quite easily.
I can't believe how quick that was.
Quick, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've had this machine since 2021?
Yep, we've done 7 years worth of work in 12 months. So that equates to about 4,000 potholes in that period. So it's a fair achievement.
So if you are out and about and you spot potholes, what's the best thing? What's the best advice you can give?
Just go onto your local council's website and report it via that method. And then say it's all logged in the system, and then they can get out and repair it.
Until then, if you're driving a car, remember to give cyclists extra space to navigate around potentially lethal potholes. And if you have spotted one, report it quick, so councils like this one can get on with the job of healing our holy highways. Without the protection a car brings, potholes are more than just a nuisance. They could end lives. And in a future where we cycle more, fixing them has to be a priority.
Yeah, I learned a lot there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, Cherie.